My brother-in-law completely emptied my bank account and laughed it off, claiming finders keepers. I simply responded, "You're right," before promptly contacting the police and directing them to his brand new car parked in the driveway. He was left in a state of panic, scrambling to justify his actions as law enforcement impounded the vehicle for evidence. I'm a 32-year-old man who leads a fairly straightforward life. I work in the IT sector, cherish my wife, Sarah, and spend my weekends perfecting my smoked brisket recipe. While we're not wealthy, we enjoy a comfortable existence. For the past 3 years, we've been diligently saving every extra dollar toward a down payment on a house, maintaining a dedicated account specifically for our future home. As of last week, that account boasted a total of just over $38,000, precisely. $38,500. Watching that number grow was a point of pride for both Sarah and me. In contrast, my brother-in-law Kevin, 26, is far from straightforward. As my wife's younger sibling, he is a colorful character who has never held a job for more than 6 months. He survives on a dwindling trust fund from his grandparents and carries himself with an unwarranted confidence reminiscent of a CEO. My in-laws idolize him, viewing his failures as mere phases of self-discovery. 2 weeks ago, Sarah and I visited her parents for dinner. I needed to check a work-related wire transfer, but their Wi-Fi was spotty. So I used their old desktop computer in the study. I logged into my bank account and even accessed my email to retrieve a confirmation number. After resolving my work issue, I made the rookie mistake of walking away from the computer without logging out, getting sidetracked by conversation. Fast forward to yesterday morning payday. I logged into our banking app to deposit my check and felt as if the ground had fallen away beneath me. Our future house fund was gone completely empty. My heart didn't merely sink. It plummeted. The transaction history was a nightmare. Revealed not a single large transfer, but 4 separate outgoing transfers of $9,625 each. Spread over 4 days, all directed to an external bank account I didn't recognize. Panic surged through me, manifesting as a hot flash with my blood roaring in my ears. I struggled to catch my breath, overwhelmed by the urge to hurl my phone against the wall. Seeing the color drain from my face, Sarah rushed over. I couldn't find the words. I merely showed her my phone. Her hand flew to her mouth as she scrolled through the transactions. We spent the next hour on the phone with the bank's fraud department. The representative offered sympathy but explained that the situation was complicated. The transfers had been initiated from a recognized device, my in-law's IP address, and sent to a newly linked external account, likely confirmed through my email, which I had also left logged in. To the bank, it appeared as if I had authorized these transactions. To make matters worse, the thief had cleverly kept each transfer under the $10,000 federal reporting threshold, thereby avoiding triggering any automatic high balance alerts, while the bank initiated an investigation. The reality was stark. If we couldn't identify the perpetrator, recovering the funds would be an uphill battle. As I grappled with a toxic mix of rage and self-recrimination for my carelessness, a thought began to form, a disturbing realization. Kevin had been posting about his new car on social media for the past week. We had dismissed it, assuming he had merely acquired an old beater. My anger didn't dissipate. It morphed into a cold, hard focus. I turned to Sarah and told her I needed to step out for a while, though I was unsure of my next move. I knew I had to confront him. I drove to my in-laws' house, and there it was. It's parked, gleaming in the driveway under the afternoon sun, a brand new Dodge Challenger Scat Pack. Pitch black with a striking red racing stripe, still sporting a temporary paper license plate in the window. I approached the front door and rang the bell. Kevin answered with an infuriatingly smug grin on his face, donning a new leather jacket. "Mark, what's up, man?" he said, leaning against the doorframe as if he owned the world. I maintained an unsettling calmness in my voice. "Where did you get the money for that car, Kevin?" His grin broadened, and he casually replied that he had come into some cash and decided to treat himself. You know how it is. No, I didn't, I thought, my heart pounding with a cold, steady rhythm. I knew that over the past week, $38,500 had been siphoned from my savings account in 4 separate transfers. And I also knew he had just purchased, a vehicle that cost nearly that amount. He stared at me for a moment and then did the one thing that sealed his fate. He laughed, wheezing, arrogant laugh. Dude, you shouldn't leave your bank account logged in on my dad's computer, he mocked, shaking his head as if I were the fool. It's 2025, man. Basic internet security. I'd say I'm sorry, but hey, finders keepers, losers weepers, right? I simply looked at him, noting the complete absence of guilt in his eyes. All I saw was contempt. He believed he had outsmarted me. I nodded slowly, even allowing a small, terrifying smile to form. You're right, I replied softly. Finders keepers. I turned on my heel, walked back to the edge of the driveway, and pulled out my phone to dial 911. Kevin's expression changed from smug satisfaction to alarm. What are you doing, Mark? What the hell are you doing? Spoke calmly into the phone. I'd like to report a theft involving a series of fraudulent bank transfers totaling nearly $40,000. The individual who committed the theft used the funds to purchase a vehicle. You're insane. You're going to call the cops on family. You crazy? He protested. The dispatcher asked for the location of the vehicle. I glanced from the gleaming black car to Kevin's panicked face. It's parked in the driveway right in front of me, I stated. And the man who stole the money is standing right next to it, frantically trying to figure out what to do. The shift in Kevin's demeanor was palpable. His bravado dissipated, replaced by raw panic, when 2 police cruisers pulled up about 10 minutes later. I was sitting on the curb waiting. Inside, I could hear shouting as Kevin emerged with his mother, Carol, who immediately began screaming at me, calling me a monster. I calmly explained the situation to the first officer, showing her the transaction history on my banking app. I detailed how I had left the computer logged in and recounted Kevin's finders keepers line verbatim. When the officer asked Kevin for the bill of sale, he proudly produced it. The purchase price was $37,890, paid for with a cashier's check. From his own bank account, the very same account I suspected my house fund had been transferred to. The paper trail was impeccable. After a brief discussion among the officers, one turned to Kevin and informed him, Sir, we are impounding the vehicle as evidence in an ongoing investigation. The look on Kevin's face as the tow truck arrived was something I will cherish for the rest of my life. He stood on the lawn, desperately trying to explain that it was all a misunderstanding while they hooked up his brand new car and prepared to take it. Away, Sarah was horrified by her brother's actions, but as I held her while she cried last night, I reassured her some people only learn through consequences, and I'm going to ensure Kevin receives a master class in them. Update 1. It has been 5 days since I watched Kevin's car get towed, and the fallout has been intense. Appreciate all the support and advice. It has been grounding to know I'm not overreacting. Kevin was arrested and charged with grand theft and multiple counts of wire fraud. My father-in-law, Bob, bailed him out. The Challenger is currently in an evidence lot. I spent a full day with Detective Miller, the lead investigator on the case. I provided printouts of my bank statements, a detailed timeline of the 4 transfers, consent for them to access the bank's full records, including the IP address history. Miller remained grimly professional when I explained how the money had been transferred in for separate chunks. He nodded, having seen this tactic before. He noted that Kevin had likely thought he was being clever by keeping the amounts under the $10,000 reporting threshold. However, as Miller pointed out, amateurs believe that makes their actions invisible. In reality, it establishes a clear pattern and intent, making the "it was a gift" defense much harder to sustain. The family's campaign to paint me as the villain began the instant Kevin returned home. My mother-in-law, Carol, called in tears. accusing me of ruining his life over money I could easily earn back. My father-in-law, Bob, called me with the disappointed dad routine, lamenting how I was tearing the family apart. My response remained consistent. You stole our down payment. That's not a mistake. It's a felony. The most challenging aspect has been witnessing the toll this has taken on Sarah. She supports me wholeheartedly but is mourning the family she thought she had. Seeing them defend Kevin's indefensible actions has shattered something within. She has stopped taking their calls, which has only funneled their anger and manipulation toward me. I've been keeping a detailed log of every call and text. As my lawyer advised, it's good practice. Sarah and I are united in this battle, and I am determined to see it through to the end. Kevin wanted to play a foolish game, and he is about to receive a very foolish prize. Update 2. It has been just over 2 weeks, and my in-laws have officially transitioned from emotional manipulation to outright criminal foolishness. Kevin's new defense strategy is that I had gotten drunk a month ago and tearfully promised him the money to help him get his life on track. He's now claiming he was merely collecting on that promise. It's both desperate and pathetic. The real escalation occurred last Tuesday when the doorbell rang. This was my father-in-law, Bob, looking shifty as he handed me a personal check for $10,000. Take this, he said. It's a down payment. Go to the police. Tell them it was all a drunken misunderstanding and we can pay the rest back off the books. Unbeknownst to him, I had been recording the conversation on my phone, as my state allows for one-party consent. Bob, are you trying to bribe me to lie to the police? I inquired, watching as his face hardened. I'm trying to save this family from the mistake you're making. It's facing prison time. When I refused the check, he angrily threw it on the floor. Think about it. This is your last chance to fix this, he insisted before storming out. Previously, I might have left the check where it fell, but this time I was more cautious. After he left, I took a photo of the check on the floor, noting the time. Using a napkin from the kitchen, I carefully picked it up by the edges, placed it in a Ziploc bag, and stored it in my desk drawer as evidence. The next morning, I sent the audio file and the photo to Detective Miller and my lawyer. Miller was furious. Not only had Kevin committed theft, but his father was now attempting witness tampering. They were effectively making our case for us. I had to share what her father had done with Sarah. She sat on the stairs, tears streaming down her face. Not loud sobs, but silent, heartbreaking tears for the family she thought she had. Her resolve has since transformed into something steely. They made their choice, she whispered. They chose him. Every insane move they make just digs Kevin's hole deeper. And I'm just standing back, documenting everything and letting them bury him. Update 3. It has been about a month and a half, and the pre-trial phase is in full swing. The district attorney's office has officially filed charges, felony grand theft, and 4 counts of wire fraud. Following the bribe attempt, they also opened an investigation into my father-in-law. Meanwhile, Kevin has outdone himself by presenting a new piece of evidence, a handwritten IOU allegedly signed by me, promising him $40,000. It is laughably obvious as a forgery. The signature is terrible. And the note is dated for a weekend when Sarah and I were out of state celebrating our anniversary effect. I can corroborate with numerous receipts and photos. When his public defender submitted this masterpiece to the DA, they were thrilled. They are now adding forgery to the list of charges. It's like watching someone douse themselves in gasoline while complaining that it's getting hot. The in-laws have initiated a full-scale smear campaign through the extended family, painting me as a greedy, unstable monster. We've been receiving nasty texts from relatives, all of which receive a curt reply followed by an immediate block. The isolation stings, but it also brings clarity. We know exactly where we stand and who stands with us. Just me and Sarah, and that's enough. Asterisk, asterisk, final update, asterisk, asterisk, hello everyone. It has been 6 months, and it's finally over. Kevin's day of reckoning arrived not with a dramatic trial, but rather with the quiet scratch of a pen on a plea agreement. The DA's case was overwhelming with a perfect paper trail. The recorded bribe and the pathetic forgery eliminated any chance he had of playing the victim. We attended the courthouse for the sentencing, and Kevin appeared a mere shadow of his former self. The smugness was gone, replaced by hollow-eyed terror. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony grand theft. In exchange, the DA dropped the other charges and agreed not to prosecute his father, provided full restitution was made. The judge, an older man with weary eyes, read the case summary. He paused, looking over his glasses, first at Kevin, then at his parents. The crime here wasn't just the theft of a significant amount of money, the judge stated quietly, yet his voice carried across the courtroom. It was the profound arrogance and contempt for the law shown afterward. The calculated nature of the transfers, the attempt to bribe and silence the victim. The creation of false documents, this pattern of behavior cannot simply be addressed with a slap on the CHL. On the wrist. Here are the consequences. Kevin was sentenced to 2 years in a state correctional facility with a likelihood of serving 18 months on parole. After his release, he will face 5 years of supervised probation. The judge explicitly noted that the sentence was necessary due to Kevin's repeated and calculated attempts to obstruct justice, highlighting that he was a poor candidate for simple probation. Full restitution of the $38,500 was ordered. The challenger was sold at police auction for $28,000 with the proceeds transferred to me. The remaining $10,500 had to be paid as a condition of the plea deal. Desperate, my in-laws paid the full amount to the court last week. Our future house fund is whole again. As for the family, we have established strict no contact. Sarah sent her parents one final text. Your son's choices and your decision to defend them have broken this family. I hope it was worth it. Please don't contact us again. They haven't reached out since. The relatives who attacked us have also gone silent. Sarah is in therapy, processing the grief of losing the family she thought she had, but our marriage has emerged stronger than ever. I don't feel happy that Kevin is in prison, but I do feel a grim sense of rightness of balance has been restored. I didn't seek revenge. I wanted accountability. Kevin thought he could cheat the system, but in the end, the system did its job. Last weekend, Sarah and I began looking at houses online again. We are wearier and a bit more cynical, but we are also a hell of a lot stronger. We are moving forward together. As for Kevin, he found something, and now he has to keep it on. Prison cell. Finders keepers.